Hey guys, welcome back to the channel, and on today's video we're going to be ranking every single Coromon based on their competitiveness in the current meta of the game. We have 5 categories, being S for smoking hot, A for A-OK, B for better, C for see ya, and D for don't even put this thing on your team. I'm going to be ranking these following Coromon based on the frequency and the actual viability I've seen them in battles currently with the 3v3 rank system in the game. Now again, I just want to let you guys know this is my opinion. These aren't facts unless we're talking about Malevite, then that is an absolute fact that he is the best. But anyway, I encourage you to freely share your opinions as well in the comments down below. Let me know if you agree, let me know if you disagree, and why. But now that we have that out of the way, let's jump right in to the first one, Ashclops, the fire type Coromon. This guy honestly goes in the C tier, see ya, with such a high physical attack stat and a move pool that only really covers special attacks. There's not much viability in the game for this guy. I would love to put this guy a little bit higher, but unfortunately I just can't see it. I can't do it. Next up we have Ukatlaw, and Ukatlaw goes in the A tier category with the massive attack and massive defense stat, along with really nice traits of being, what is it, fully rested, humidifier, as well as a few others, and a really nice versatile move set. Bunch of different typings, so that way you can really have some nice coverage. So that's why we put that guy in A tier. Next up, we have Dugterra, and I'm going to put that guy in B tier. One, because it was one of my first favorite Coromon that I had for my playthrough. If you haven't seen my playthrough, check it out on the channel. It's really nice. And another reason is because it's got the trait Lucky, which has a 25% increased chance for critical hits. I think that's pretty awesome. That, and it has access to cut type moves, normal type moves, foul type moves, giving it nice coverage against water types. So that's why we're putting in B tier for sure. Next up we have Darikara, the water type. Honestly, it should be a dragon type if they had dragon types in this game. I would love to put this thing in smoking hot just because it has one of the best perfect like pixel arts in the game for the perfect form. However, we're gonna put it in the B tier, better. It is a massively high physical attacker, with access to some really cool traits like Amplified and Wet Coat, and it has some really nice physical attacking moves. So you can really use this guy to take out opposing Coromon that have very little to no defensive stat. Next up we have Ecliptor, and this guy smoking hot. I see this thing everywhere, and when we do, it's terrifying. It's literally the second fastest Coromon in the game without any sort of boosts, right? And on top of that, you have access to moves like a Ball of Darkness that can boost your special attack. You have Moonlight to recover health and boost your special defense, and you have Hypno Wave, which can potentially put your opponent to sleep. However, the accuracy is pretty low on that. That, and along with the trait Menacing, which is one of the best traits I think in the game. I'll do a whole nother video in the future, so if you're interested in a tier list for traits for Coromon, then consider subscribing to the channel, because that's going to be coming out soon. But that's why we're going to put this guy in smoking hot, and honestly, like, who's gonna disagree with that? This thing is absolutely smoking hot. Next up we have Mudra, and honestly I like want to put this guy in B tier, right? Like I want to, but maybe it's C tier. I don't know. It's kind of an all-rounder, but definitely prefers physical attacks. The reason I want to put it in B tier but just can't is because it doesn't learn the move Phantom Spike, and I feel like that's so sad. If it knew Phantom Spike, it would be so much better. However, it does get access to feelers and transcending, so it's going to be in between one of these two for sure. It's not A-OK and it's not smoking hot, so I'm going to put it in front of Ashclops for now. Next up we have Arctoros, and this thing is so nice. It has the traits, any of the possible traits: Lucky, which we talked about earlier with Dugterra; Snowman, which can restore itself up to 5 HP after every round, as long as it's snowing; or Arctic, which actually brings snow upon entering. So all those traits are phenomenal. And it has an amazing selection of moves, and it's a special attacker with some really nice defenses. You can make this a physical attacker, but honestly, I'll be honest, while I was doing some ranked matches, every time an opponent had this guy on the team, I lost. Now, it could just be because of my team's makeup, but we're going to put this in front of Yukakla, under the smoking hot tier for sure. This is where this guy is going to go. An absolute menace. I need to do better at like countering this guy for sure. Arcturus, I'm coming after you, bud. Next up, we have Swampa, and that goes straight into the A tier. A-OK, you can definitely be on a team, a competitive team, with coverage moves like Quicksand and being a special attacker. Like, what's not to love about this guy? An amazing Coromon to have on your team. Next up, we have Armadon, and Armadon is, oh, this is a tough one. Actually, no, it's not. This thing has amazing coverage. So it has a massive, massive attack and defensive stat, you guys. However, it lacks a special defense and special attack, obviously, but it has a really nice move pool that you can use. You have cut moves, you have heavy type moves. I'm gonna put it right here. You even have a water type move, Splatter. That's a physical type, so you can do some serious damage across the board and have some really nice coverage with this guy. So that's why we're gonna put it right here in front of Yukakla, but after Arcturus. Next up, we have the bane of my existence, Ant Lantern. Oh, this guy, absolutely smoking hot. Every person who runs Ant Lantern and runs a withdraw on it, it's just, I hate you. I just want to let you know, I don't like you guys. You're cheesing me. But also, what a phenomenal, better version of Lapras from Pokemon, of a Coromon we have right here. With the trait, one of the best traits in the game, again, I'm going to do a trait video in the future, Empathetic. Pretty much whenever your opponent or anyone else that the Ant Lantern is facing changes its stats, it will copy that stat change. So if your opponent boosts their defense or whatever, automatic boost of your defense. And on top of that, you still get to move on your turn. That in itself is amazing. But also we have some really nice coverage moves. We have Permafrost, we have Crystal Barrage. We have a bunch of really good stuff, along with Withdraw too, to boost our own defense and special defense. I think this guy is gonna, you'll start seeing Ant Lantern on every single team. Next up, we have Caradune, and this guy has Dirt Coat, Menacing, Thick Skin, pretty decent stuff, a very high attack power. However, there's so many other different types of Coromon, specifically Sand Coromon, that can just be, they can do so much more and just be so much more viable. So for this guy, we're gonna put the right after Mudma, but before Ashclops in the Sia tier. Next up, we have Blazitor, and a lot of people are gonna hate me for this, but we're also gonna put this guy in Sia tier in front of Caradune. And the reason I do that is because, like, it has one of the best designs. I love Blazitor, don't get me wrong. This is like the first fire type you could really get other than your starter in the game. However, it just, with its current move pool, even though it's very fast and hits like a truck, you're almost never gonna knock out your opponent, and your opponent's almost always gonna knock you out because you're so frail. So that's why we're gonna put that guy there. Unfortunately, I just have not been able to encounter or run a viable Blazitor set. Now, if you have, please let me know in the comments down below, and maybe we'll try to run your set in a future video. Next up, we have a Blizzian, and for Blizzian, this, again, another one that I've never really run before. However, it is an all-rounder, has some really nice traits, and really decent move coverage. It is an ice type. Being an ice type, you're only weak to fire types and heavy types. There are a lot of heavy types in the move, in all the Coromon move pools. So we're going to keep it in better tier, but not in A tier. I just haven't seen it really shine currently. I feel like it still has potential to shine, especially with the trait like Winter Coat. It'll increase its evasiveness in snow, so that accompanied with like this guy over here could really could really put in some work on a competitive team. Next up, we got our boy Chonktoad, and this is going up here. You already know Chonktoad is just great for really no reason. It's like a thicker Greninja. Let's be honest, this thing is amazing. Really nice move pool coverage, kind of an all-rounder. You can run a special or a physical attacking set. Defenses are massive, HP is massive. Humidifier is probably the preferred trait, but you could also go with Toxic Skin. What's not to love about this guy? And again, as you're seeing, like a lot of the water types are making it up here in the AOK tier. I wonder why. Next up is DC, and DC is another one that I feel like could be pretty good. It has access to Ball of Darkness, a high special attack, and a lot more electric attacks. It is an electric Coromon, but we're going to keep this guy over here after Darikara in the better tier. Jelliquad is up next, and this guy's going in the AOK tier, another water type, but it has access to Sting, which is an electric type move, so pretty good coverage. This thing could take out other water types. Honestly, could be a nice counter for the Ant Lantern. However, this thing's defense is massive, so you're probably going to want to go with an electric special attacker, so we'll put this guy in the AOK tier for now. It does have some really cool abilities, traits I mean, like Inverse. However, you got to be cautious about that because it also has some really good moves like Water Clone and Stat Copycat, but you're probably not going to want to run with Inverse, so be cautious when you're running this guy. Next up, we have Glamoth, which I always want to call Frostmoth for whatever reason, and this guy goes all the way up here in front of everybody in A tier because I see it on everybody's team running Antarctic. It's good. It's a great Coromon even, however its defense is abysmal. So if you know this, if you know that its special attack and special defense is massive, but its defense is like, if you hit it with a Malevite or a Chiraptor, like a single attack, maybe even like transcending from Malevite or something like that, you're pretty much one-shotting this thing. So, but if you're not able to have a physical attack rate, you're kind of screwed. Next up is Golbeak, and Golbeak, I want to put in the better tier, in the front of better tier, but honestly, I would not be surprised if we start seeing this guy in A tier, maybe even smoking tier. It has the trait that pretty much neglects all weather conditions. So if this guy wants to drop some snow or someone else wants to drop some sand, hey, guess what? I don't care. We're not reducing our evasiveness or accuracy at all. That and having the move Peck, we can hold a Pomo fruit, do some massive damage with Peck, and then steal our opponent's fruits. Stealing your opponent's fruits in a game where you're guaranteed every single Coromon's going to be holding a fruit or maybe some sort of item like Revitalizer, you can just rip it from them, and that in itself could be massive. All right, next up we have a Grimask, and it has a huge HP as well as special attack. Really cool. The only Coromon to have a, counter to being put to sleep with the trait Restless. That in itself, just being the only one not able to get cheesed, puts it all the way up here in the A tier. Right after this guy, honestly, maybe even before this guy. We can't be put to sleep. This guy has Sandman. Nope, doesn't matter. Maybe even before you, to be honest. No one uses this though, and that's how we're like ranking these guys. I just don't see this as often. I'm gonna put it right here in the middle. I would not be surprised if we start seeing this guy get used way more frequently. Next up is another, honestly, pretty much similar to DC, but just better special attack. So we're going to put this all the way in front in the B tier. It's pretty much the same thing. Also has access to Ball of Darkness, but just a little bit more stat-wise. Next up, we got Humby, and you already know that's smoking hot. Now, if you don't know why this is smoking hot, you're living under a rock, but this thing, massive attack, Feelers transcending Sandman, as well as double Sting. This thing it's so good. It's so good. It's very rarely outsped unless it's by this guy or something else. Definitely recommend having Humby on your team. It's a really nice... I love how this game actually makes normal type monsters viable. Like, it's crazy. It's really good. So consider running one of these guys, or just playing with it, because it is S tier. Humby is absolutely S tier. Next up we have Infinix, and probably with the ability Afterburner, we're gonna put it in the A-OK tier. I see this thing a lot, probably because it also looks really cool, but it's got really nice move coverage and does some decent damage, as well as its speed isn't like horrible. It's not the slowest Coromon out there. Next up we have Crybeast, and we're gonna put this a tank in the front or before Ashclops and Caradune, right here in the middle of the C tier. It's a tank. It's absolutely amazing with its you know, being able to tank with its tank-like stats. Its traits are pretty nice too. However, where it lacks for me is its move pool. It doesn't have a nice coverage in moves. Next up, we have the slowest Coromon in Coromon, and that guy is going to be going, this Chiraptor, if you don't know, is the slowest freaking Coromon, and we're going to put him in smoking hot tier because it has the trait prepared, which pretty much doubles your speed. So if you're lucky, you can still outspeed a ton of Coromon. Probably not this guy. That and having like one of, if not the strongest attack stat. What? It's so good. Great move coverages. You got like Poison Fang for normal types. So much is happening here. It's really nice. Next up, we have Lumisect. And again, that's going to be smoking hot because it's the fastest Coromon. In fact, we're going to put this in front of Ant Lantern. The only reason it's not going in front of the second fastest is because, actually, you know what? It could. I think it might be. I think it really might be better than this. It does have access to a magic type move that can pretty much one-hit KO Ecliptors. So why not, right? That makes sense. Yeah, we're gonna keep that there. That, and with amplified, super effective moves against opponents deal an extra 25% damage. So we're gonna be faster than Sky, and we have super drain. What? We one-shot it. So that's why we're gonna put this currently as the #1 ranked Coromon in the game. Next up is Magmillis. And for Magmillis, we're going to put this guy in A-OK, right? This is a tough one. Probably here. This thing is what Ashclops wishes it was, with a massive special attack, great HP and defenses, right? This thing is kind of a tank. And it has access to one of the best fire type moves, Heat Beam or something, Lava Beam. Shoots off 3 times, does massive damage. However, if you run it on Ashclops, it does literally nothing. It's kind of sad. So that's why this guy is ranked in the A tier and this guy is in C tier. Sorry, buddy. Sorry, buddy. This Cyclops is better than you. It's kind of funny. They're both Cyclops. Next up is Magnemire. We're going to put this guy in A tier because it has some really nice move coverage, very slow, but it also has the trait Sticky Layer, or I believe that's what it's called. And every time you hit it, you lower your speed. And in any sort of competitive gameplay, speed priority and just like controlling speed in a game is so important. That's why having like any of these two right here, or anything that with transcending on your team, especially when it's a 3v3, is going to be so important in this competitive scene for Coromon. Next up, we have Malevite, and this is going to be extremely biased, but we're going to put this guy in #1 because every time I keep my Malevite alive and healthy in the back end, we win. There's literally, I've 1v3'd with Malevite, that and with the ability, the trait Dry Wind. It boosts my own evasiveness, it boosts my own accuracy, and then lowers everybody else's evasiveness and accuracy that isn't a sand type move. I run Splatter, a physical water type, so any other Malevites, we're just wrecking them, and we're also holding the fruit that boosts water type attacks, because you know me, I like to cheese my opponents. We got Transcending, we have Stone Fist, and we also have Reconstruct to boost our defense and recover 15% HP. So that's what I like to run on my Malevite, and it's kind of amazing. Let me know if you guys want me to have like specific build videos, and I can run some like a video of like what I think the best builds for each Coromon is. Let me know in the comments if that's something you want in the future. Next up, we have Millie Don't, and I'm gonna say Millie Do, please. Please keep being amazing. Amazing defense. You got Dry Wind. You got some really nice move coverage. It's gonna stay here in the B tier. Honestly, probably before this guy. Yeah, for sure. We're gonna put this guy right here. Next up, we have Octotl, and again, another smoking hot, super fast. I think it's probably slower than this guy. So we'll put him right here. Again, another speed. Speed priority is very important. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of these guys are super fast. 6 of them if you have the right trait. This guy, not so much, but his defense is just, it's so annoying. So again, really good moves. That and the trait Motivated and Ball of Darkness as a move. Your special attack is going to skyrocket. And you can really snowball if you were set up to get the first knockout. Next up is something that saddens me tremendously. I love this guy. One of my favorite Coromon in the game. Specifically, its perfect form. It's all gold. Urachi, you're going to be in the Sia tier. I'm going to put you in the front of Sia tier because there could be hope for you. However, something with such a massive physical attack, HP, fully rested, so many great traits, you just, I don't know if you lack with your move pool or what's going on here. It just does not do well. Not when I run it and not when other people run it. I am not terrified of this guy. 2 shots, it's gone, fully rested or not. It's sad. I hope to see it do better. Let me know in the comments if you think it should do better and what sets you run on this guy. But for now, we're going to keep him right there. Next up, we have a Perghast. And for Perghast, we're going to put it in the B tier right here after Darikara. The reason it's not any higher or lower is because it does have some very unique moves, kind of like Super Fang, that reduces your opponent's HP by 50%. And that could come in handy specifically against like these tanks up here that just love to spam defensive boosting moves. Super annoying. And it's got some decent traits, so that's why we're putting that guy there. Next up, we have Rhino Buzz, I believe is its name. Yup, Rhino Buzz. And Rhino Buzz was one of the first Coromon I had in a like randomized alone squad, and we're gonna put this guy up here. That with Bolt Bomb and having that, what is it, Sapo fruit or whatever, that recovers your mole fruit. It's the mole fruit, recovers your SP. It's so good. It's so unbelievably good. We have coverage moves, Stagmalites. I don't know how to pronounce the word. Words are hard for me, you guys, but it's a sand type coverage. We got some really nice coverage with this guy, so we're gonna put it in the smoking hot tier. Next up, we have Sandrill, and with, I hate to do this, but this is our first don't even. You don't put this on your team. I haven't seen anybody put this on their team with so many other viable sand types. There's just no reason to put this guy on your team. It does have some decent like traits, so you could be very, synergistic with something like Humidifier and whatnot, but I just don't see it. It just doesn't. I don't think it works. Next up, we got Serpike, another smoking hot normal types. I'm telling you, these normal types are taking over with access to like Poison Chomp, Foul type moves, normal type moves, even magic type moves, but they're going to be more special attack. It's pretty good. And it has the trait Spiked Body, which is kind of like Ref Skin from Pokemon. Does some crazy damage. Next up, we got Skeletops and another smoking hot, not Pokemon. Another smoking hot Coromon. This guy, so nice. It's got really good traits, but where it thrives, its moveset, move pool. You can have Sandman to put your opponent to sleep. You got Poison Chomp that can pretty much one-shot most of these normal types. You got so much move coverage, so that's why we have this guy here, and it's staying there. Next is a Toravolt, and for Toravolt, I guess smoking hot. It's pretty fast. It does a lot of damage. I like this guy. It's got some great abilities. I keep saying abilities, guys, don't rip my head off, but it's traits, and that's why we're gonna keep it in smoking hot. I also see a lot of people use it. It also has access to Ball of Darkness, which boosts its special attack. So it's a really nice Coromon. Next up, we have the starters, the Fire Final Form starter line. I'm gonna put it in the AOK tier. I haven't run it personally, but I see some people running it. Good HP, really fast. It's the fastest starter. You would think something this thick wouldn't be this fast, right? So I'm gonna put it in front of Armada, and we're gonna keep it there. It's gonna be AOK tier for sure. Next up, we got Cub Zero's final evolution. We're gonna put this guy right here. It's got really nice move coverage, but also its base stat total is massive. It's pretty strong. Good and decent traits. Nothing too crazy. But again, it's not my favorite. Now, the best starter, in my opinion, and probably all of yours, is Megalobite here. And we're gonna put this guy in front of the Ant Lantern guy. Maybe even Octo, but not for these three for sure. We'll put him right here, and the reason here is because you have Wet Coat, you have Fully Rested, you have so much trait like possibilities, and your move pool, you can be preferably a special attacker, but you can also probably run some physical attacking moves like Chomp for water type coverage. You got Head Smash, you got you got bubble blower, you got quicksand for electric types. It's really viable. And then the OP starter ever. You guys thought I forgot about this. This guy's your starter too. Don't forget you get this guy early on, and he's gonna go in front of the other starter right here. And the reason for that is if you get the trait overclocker, you pretty much can win the whole game with transcending or whatever. It's supposed to be a special attacker, but here, let me run a scenario for you. You have this guy in the back end. Your opponent sends out one of the strongest attacking Coromon, a Chiraptor, a Malevite, maybe even this guy right here. Guess what? You swap in this guy, instantly switch in, or maybe wait for your current Coromon to get knocked out, do some damage, and then switch into this guy. With the trait Overclocker, you automatically copy your opponent's attack stat if they're more than you. So now you have an equal attack stat. You got moves with speed priority like Transcending. You're doing crazy amounts of damage. But anyway, thank you guys so much for watching. This has been my version of the current Coromon PvP tier list. Let me know in the comments what you think. I tried to, do this as efficiently and effectively as possible. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll catch you in future live streams where we, climb rank together and talk more competitive Coromon. Anyway, that's pretty much it, and I'll catch you guys in the next one. Later.